This Fleet Equipment Unscripted interview is presented by Hendrickson, a leading manufacturer of heavy-duty suspension systems and components to the global commercial transportation industry. Visit hendrickson-intl.com to learn more.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason Morgan, Content Director for Fleet Equipment, and welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted. Today we're talking with Josh Aroner, Chief Marketing Officer of Verizon Connect. Josh, thanks for taking the time.
Oh, no, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So you have recently here released the 2025 Fleet Technology Trends Report. This is a report that looks at how fleets are using all the great data that's coming off the trucks and everything that Verizon Connect connects them with. One of the biggest highlights from the report was the rapid ROI from GPS tracking and asset management solutions. Can you tell us what specific cost-saving features or integrations have contributed to making those quick returns?
Yeah, so first, the core GPS fleet tracking continues to be a big driver of ROI, particularly from a fuel efficiency standpoint, right? So our survey respondents still point to fuel efficiency as a big driver of cost efficiency. At the same time, the addition of video into the telematics mix has been a big driver of adoption across the industry, because it's really two things. It's driving safety benefits, both for the driver and for fleet vehicles, and then also obviously for the insurance benefits, as well as reductions in frivolous lawsuits. And so the addition of camera has been a big change. And then even this year, we've seen an uptick in the benefits from a cost benefit of asset tracking, right? As more people are bringing in the ability to track heavy assets, they're starting to see a benefit there in terms of, not the less loss of equipment and or knowing where your equipment is, so you're able to use it more frequently.
Right. So when you say heavy assets in our world, that's probably tractors, trailers, right? Which trailers, I've heard, which is interesting, tend to get lost. They can actually easily get lost if you don't know where they are, where they were dropped last. You might own a trailer and not be able to locate. I assume that's kind of the thing we're talking about.
Indeed, as you get into larger fleets, the amount of equipment these companies are holding on to is significant, and something that sounds sort of obvious to the layperson in terms of whether it's a large tractor or a cab. Hey, there's lots of assets. Their businesses are moving at a fast pace, and they want to know where their equipment is at all times. And sometimes it's in a parking space where maybe they didn't expect it to be.
Right. Or even, I imagine it goes into vocational applications. Do you think construction equipment, any yellow iron that you're hauling or tracking or anything like that, those can be remote job sites as well?
Absolutely. And look, and in fact, we're seeing a demand for folks to move into even smaller assets or mid-size assets. If you're a plumbing company and you have a fleet of 100, 200 people and they have ladders, ladders aren't cheap.
Oh, sure.
And the amount of ladders you might lose can start to add up. I mean, as I was telling you before we got on the air, I just moved from London. And when I moved back from London, I realized I suddenly had a toolbox. I didn't buy a toolbox. It was just tools left at my house, right? And so it's a very similar phenomenon. We see it across the industry, and I expect assets to continue to be an attractive use case for us.
Yeah, interesting that it can get down to kind of those smaller pieces of equipment. Definitely want to keep track of that. Let's go back to the video, an in-cab video, because I find this one really interesting. Your survey mentioned that in-cab video was rated extremely or very beneficial by 68% of the users, which I think has been quite a sea change in the fleet world, given that, if I think back 7 or 8 years ago, where some fleets or even a lot of drivers felt a little hesitant to put videos in the trucks, right? It seems that has switched over. In the survey, did you get any comments about either fleets overcoming those challenges or how they work with drivers on those concerns and boost productivity?
Not specifically in the survey, but I will tell you, we do a lot of work with our customers on how to help them drive adoption, right? And what I would tell you is that as much as this is a technology change, what we really help our customers on is more of the change management or the cultural change of how do you drive safety practices into a business. How do you bring better driver coaching into a business? And so, what we constantly see is that technology adoption alone is not the solution, but how do you bring about change? How do you share the benefits with your workforce as to what this technology brings? And then how do you help them drive that change across the board. And so, you have to go in and help initiate not just how you implement the physical technology, but how do you culturally drive adoption? And that's been, I think we've seen that in different technology life cycles in this industry and other ones, but that's been the most significant change. And I think in general, just as a society, video is becoming a much more common, sort of prevalent model, and something we're more comfortable with. And so we're going to see more of it. We've just in the last couple of weeks, we've launched what we call extended view cameras. And so we're adding not just the rear, the front and driver facing cameras, but now the ability to add, aftermarket side, rear, and in cargo cameras for all those same reasons, right? How do you give both drivers as well as fleet managers more visibility to what's happening around their vehicle, inside their vehicle, which gives them more control to make sure that they're driving a safe, in a safe environment, and one that they have as much control over as possible.
Right, that recent product announcement, as well as the 68%, I think that find it extremely or very beneficial, I think goes to that point. I mean, it resonates with me on that change management as someone who has tried to adopt new technology in a business or even on the fleet side, right? You buy this great service, it's wonderful, you give it to people, and then people don't use it. And it's not because they don't want to, it's just they need a little more help doing it. And so that definitely resonates with me, and it sounds like you're doing great work there. Regulations, I think, here coming into the first part of the year has been a big talking point, especially around emissions and driver safety. How is Verizon Connect adapting solutions to help fleets remain compliant with these evolving federal and state mandates?
No, absolutely. And, if you go out a week or two and you miss something, there's probably be another regulation you're tracking. But look, we do look at the market very carefully. We've recently just launched our own DVIR capability. So, how do you bring digital record keeping and inspection reports into the market? And you'll continue to see us look at ways to automate what have been traditionally manual processes. And then, when it comes to emissions, we've been partnering in California with CARB and how to, getting our product certified for CARB usage. Again, with the notion of, taking whether it's a business regulation or a government regulation and looking at what can be done to drive the most benefit for our fleet customers, but also take away as much of the pain as possible of having to manually find ways to improve compliance, right? So, a continued opportunity to, automate and then bring where you can, artificial intelligence or just machine learning to something. Whether it's preventative maintenance opportunities or opportunities to take data and learn from it and improve your outcomes overall.
Right. Very good. Josh, hey, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure there's a lot to talk about here down the road, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Hey, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.